Break out the brooms, baby. The Mariners have swept the Angels, and we're feeling pretty good about it. This is the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Locked On Mariners postgame show. It is Wednesday, August 17th, 2022, and thank you so much for making us your first listen after the sweep. We are free and available on all platforms with new episodes dropping every Monday through Friday. I am your host, Ty Gonzalez, joined as always by my co-host, Colby Patnode. We cover the Mariners over at InsideTheMariners.com. For Fan Nation over on the Sports Illustrated Network, be sure to follow the show on Twitter at LO_Mariners. Follow Inside the Mariners at Inside Mariners. And you can follow me at Dan Gonzalez. It's DANEGNZLZ. And Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. Be sure to also check out our Patreon over at patreon.com/control the zone. Post 2 additional podcasts on there every single week. Again, that is patreon.com/control the zone. And if this is your first time joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast, welcome to the show. If you like what you hear, give us a follow or subscribe wherever you listen to this. And if you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. And we have eclipsed the 3,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. Thank you so much for helping us get there. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to growing this community even further. So let's get into the series. The Mariners today complete a 3-game sweep over the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim with an 11-7 win on Wednesday afternoon. And Colby, I felt like this series perfectly encapsulated everything the Angels are and everything the Angels have been for the last 7 or so years. Shohei Ohtani, one of the two once-in-a-lifetime talents on the Angels roster, went 4 for 5 today. He was 4 for 5. He was a double away from the cycle. And the Angels lost 11-7. And that feels like pretty much every headline for every Angels game. And I think anyone that has tuned into us in the past knows how we feel about the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. So, Colby, I'll kick it to you and have some fun here. Drag the Angels a little bit. I know everyone loves when you do that.
Well, I'm a little bit bummed that the Angels didn't even show up. I mean, they sent the Salt Lake Bees out there, except for the 9th inning on Monday when it looks like they sent my 5-year-old nephew's T-ball team out to try and complete the victory there. So, yeah, I mean, I think I've seen better organization in a Gymboree class. It was a disaster for Phil Nevin. The guy might be the stupidest human being in Major League Baseball, which is really saying something when you think about it. Stuck with Aaron Loop for so long. His team clearly gave up on him. How do you not challenge the 2-2 count that becomes a 3-1 count magically? Like you didn't realize it. You didn't think about it. Like, no wonder your team gave up on you. You're a joke. You know what? Jokes actually have value. They bring joy to people. You're nothing. You're nothing. You're Phil Nevin. That's the worst compliment I can give you. You're Phil Nevin. You suck. And so does your baseball team. Shohei Ohtani's pretty good. So, hey, you get to cheer about something once every 3 innings. But other than that, your organization is a joke. Your fan base is toxic as hell. I wonder if, Major League Baseball is so concerned with expansion. I wonder if maybe they should look at contraction and just, dump the Angels entirely. Nobody needs them. Nobody will miss them. All the Angels fans will actually go back to rooting for the Dodgers. I know they're trying to be different and like, oh, I'm out there, man. I'm an Angels fan. No, you're not. You're just desperate to be different than everybody else. Go root for the Dodgers. They're better at everything than you are. It must be so frustrating to be the little brother in Los Angeles of all places. Well, not even really Los Angeles, because Anaheim is like Ellensburg to Seattle's Los Angeles. So let's just be pretty clear about that. Actually, you know what? That's an insult to Ellensburg. I like Ellensburg. So I don't know, Donald Washington to Seattle's Los Angeles. So
The two people who listen to us and Donald Washington are so mad right now.
I don't know if the population of Donald is 2, to be honest with you. There's a pizza place there and a gas station, and that's it. So, yeah, you're a joke. Like, you're like the worst team in your entire state in that any sport. Pick whatever sport you want. Charger fans laugh at you.
Hmm.
All 4 of them. They think you're stupid. Like it's insanity how bad the Angels are at literally everything.
Professional underachievers, the Angels are for sure. And we saw that once again this week as the Mariners just, I mean, yesterday they were getting perfected through 5 innings. They explode for 8 runs from that point forward. The other night, it seemed like the Angels had that game pretty much in hand. They were able to survive Luis Castillo, got a couple runs off of him, somewhat, thanks in part to Julio Rodriguez and Mitch Haniger. Yes. Yeah. Just gifting them a home run, gifting Luis Rengifo a home run. It seemed like maybe they were going to be able to pull that one out. And then, of course, as you said, as you mentioned, the defense just, wow. We don't even need to get into that.
That is the worst display in baseball history.
That was embarrassing. Like, if Angel fans, I want to say they deserve better, but they don't. But like, if I'm an Angel fan, right? Like, how do you go on and just be like, yeah, this is okay, this is fine?
Yeah, we just need to spend $200 million on Xander Bogaerts, and we'll be fine. This will totally be fixed.
Yeah, we just need to add another offensive star, and that'll do it.
That'll fix it. Sure. I mean, of course, we'll be so appealing to the sinking ship of the clown car, of the dumpster that is on fire, somehow floating to the bottom of the ocean. But yeah, no, we'll be fine. We got this. Just think about how bad, like on Monday night, and I know we were supposed to talk about today's game, but we didn't get to talk about Monday yet, so we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
On Monday night, like you could say, can you believe that catastrophic mistake the Angels made? Like one of the dumbest baseball mistakes in like the history of the game. Can you believe it? And you literally have to go, which one? Because there were like 4 or 5. Like,
yeah, the Mariners scored 3 runs on 3 balls that didn't leave the infield.
No.
And
what makes it even worse is that, like, even after all of that, right, or most of that, Ty France hits a perfect double play ball right to the short. The second baseman is standing on second base. Ty France is barely out of the batter's circle.
Yeah.
And they throw home. Not even well. It's just mind-boggling. I enjoyed every single second of it. You say, oh my God, don't you feel sorry for professional athletes sometimes? Sometimes, never the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Stupid team, stupid name. You're not in Los Angeles. Like I said, you're in Donald of California. Get out of here.
By the way,
call it the Salt Lake Bees. You'd be better.
My favorite of that whole sequence, though, was after all the errors, when Jesse Winker hit the sacrifice ground out. I believe it was the shortstop Vasquez fielded it, and he was so spooked by all the errors and everything that had happened, he tripped over himself before throwing to first.
Yeah, I think it was Rojas, the third baseman, but yeah, like
Rojas, yes. Yeah.
That's even worse because that's an easier throw. So it's I mean, it just
that team is in a dark place right now. That team is in a very dark place.
Like, burn it down to the ground, including that trashy stadium. One of the worst aesthetic stadiums I've ever seen. It's so ugly in that stadium. Burn it down to the ground, force Artie Moreno to sell the team. Like, how can Major League Baseball be okay with having a second team in the Los Angeles market and have it be like the absolute laughing stock of Major League Baseball? How's that okay? Make him sell the team. I hope they don't, because I love laughing at them, but I mean, come on, that's a huge missed opportunity. I mean,
yeah.
Mike Trout just wasted his entire career, and Shohei Ohtani can say whatever he wants. He regrets the decision he made 5 years ago, 100%. He'll tell you no.
Oh, absolutely.
I made so
How
many
can
great
you not?
friends. I wouldn't change. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Yes, he would, because Shohei Ohtani, not a moron, made a bad decision, not stupid. So he's leaving. I mean, if he signs back up for the Angels, then yes, he is officially stupid, but he's not going to. He's going to go play for the Dodgers or, the Giants, a real team. Not this, I mean, I don't even know what to call it. Not this T-ball team. Watching the Angels play other baseball teams is like watching, a dad play an 8-year-old in basketball, and the dad shoots left-handed just to keep things interesting. That's all it is. The Angels are a joke. I hope they cease to exist.
And so the team that Otani spurned is now 11 games over 500, sitting comfortably in the first wildcard spot in the American League. 11 games over 500 for the first time this season, by the way. Just a couple months removed from being 10 games under 500, and that feels like an absolute eternity ago now at this point. But the Mariners looking pretty good. They're getting a much needed off day tomorrow before they go on to Oakland. We're going to be talking more about this series in just a moment. But real quick, a reminder: this episode of Locked On Mariners is brought to you by Liver Health Formula. Did you know the key to sustainable weight loss is through your liver? The liver is the body's metabolic furnace. It's responsible for flushing out harmful toxins and igniting your fat-burning metabolism. But thanks to modern diets of rich and unhealthy processed food and constant exposure to thousands of man-made and environmental toxins, most of us have overworked livers. But now it's easy to rejuvenate your liver health and reignite your metabolism thanks to Liver Health Formula by Pure Health Research. Liver Health Formula contains 8 liver-boosting super nutrients like turmeric, beet, and artichoke extract, all of which work together to wake up a sluggish liver and turn it into a toxin flushing and fat burning machine. No more bloated belly, no more uncomfortable digestion, no more feeling tired and low on energy all the time. And best of all, Liver Health Formula makes it easier to maintain a healthy body weight long term. And as a listener of our show, you can try Liver Health Formula risk-free today and get a free bottle of Curb Fit with your order. Curb Fit is a safe and all-natural appetite suppressant, making it easy to say no to unhealthy foods. This makes it the perfect complement to Liver Health Formula. So go to getliverhelp.com/MLB to learn more. Again, that's getliverhelp.com/MLB to try a Liver Health Formula completely risk-free and claim your free bottle of Curb Fit with your order. Go to getliverhelp.com/MLB now to get started. You're listening to the Locked On Mariners postgame show. Thank you again for making us your first listen after the sweep. So the birthday boy today, Jesse Winker, had himself a home run, an impressive home run, catching up to a fastball near the top of the zone. That was nice. That was nice to see. We saw a little bit of a new stance. Well, kind of a returning stance. You know, he went to the stance a little while ago, probably a month or so ago, then went back to his more, leaning back stance. And now he's back to this, where the bat is more over his shoulder. Seemed like it worked out for him in this series. He collected a pair of hits in the first game and then hits a home run today, of course. So do you think that Winker is starting to turn the corner here a little bit?
I feel like we've seen this before for, a week or so at a time, and then just right back to what it was. So I don't know. I'd hesitate to say he's turned the corner necessarily. It's nice that there are clearly mechanical changes. We'll see if he sticks with them, because again, we saw this kind of earlier and then he kind of reverted back a little bit. I wonder if, maybe we know he's been dealing with back issues. I wonder if maybe that was part of the reason. So we'll see. He's DH 2 of the last 3 days. Gets the day off tomorrow. I don't know how much left field we're going to see him play down the stretch. I actually don't think we're going to see it much at all, which is ideal. So I think, he's certainly been a lot better since April and May. And he's been pretty good for 10 days or so now. It's not just this series. So, starting to believe it, starting to see it a little bit. Actually seeing physical changes helps believe it too. But I don't know if I would say that I'm like, Jesse Winker's back. I don't know if I'm there yet. Let's see how he hits at home, because his home road splits are
for sure
something else. They really are. So we'll see how it goes at home. But yeah, it's nice to have, and he's you needed him today, and for the last week or so, because Julio hasn't been all that great. Not terrible, not great. Ty France has been terrible. So you kind of needed somebody to step up, and for a little bit there, it was Mitch trying to carry it. Now it's, now Jesse and Mitch, and JP's had a nice road trip, and Haggerty continues to find a way to produce, and Frazier continues to have, I think he's hitting like 320 since the start of the Padres series. So, it's to the point now where, you could legitimately put Adam Frazier as the leadoff guy, and nobody would bat an eye.
Yeah, and he was the leadoff guy today, collected a couple of hits, also walked, so a good day for Adam Frazier today. Winker entering today's game, just 8 hits in his last 45 plate appearances before today's game, but a 400 on-base percentage, 500 slugging percentage in that time, so he's hitting for a lot of power right now, and again, another home run today, so that's good. And you also mentioned JP Crawford, who has been having a really good road trip. And he helped out the team again today, helped out the team in this series. What have you been seeing out of JP that suggests that he might be turning the corner offensively?
It's just kind of who JP is. He's a very streaky hitter. We know that every year he'll have a month where he looks like he's, oh my God, he's turned the corner. He's, he's an all-star, blah, blah, blah. And then kind of crashes and burns, and then he kind of eventually finds his middle. So it's one of those things where I feel like we know who JP is. JP is going to hit 250 to 265, somewhere in that range. He's going to put up, 320 to 340 on base, somewhere in that range. He's going to slug sub 400. And that's just who he is. So I feel like he's getting into kind of, coming back out of it. And it'd be great if you got one of those months where JP looks like an all-star, because this offense could use it. And this is a great time for it. But I think what we're actually seeing is we're just kind of seeing JP kind of become or come back to what he was. Faced a lot of really good pitching for a while there. JP's got, bat speed issues. He's got pretty long swing, and he has quite a few holes in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
And so really good pitching can exploit that. Now, when you go up against, the Texas, the Angels, the Oakland, it's harder for them to exploit those holes. So JP, he's using the whole field. He's turned on a couple balls down the line and whatnot, but really it's just JP getting back to what he does best, which is, line drives are lower. Fly balls are not JP Crawford's friend. So it's all about the line drives and putting the ball on the ground hard with authority. And we're starting to see that.
Yeah, keeping the ball level, hitting line drives, and getting on base, and that's what JP Crawford's doing this road trip, and it's really helping the Mariners out in a big way, because, like you said, right, Julio's slumping a little bit coming off of his injury, still obviously had the home run last night and has been robbed of like three other home runs. By the way, what do you think about the call that was overturned on Monday night? Do you think that was a home run for Julio or no?
I don't know. I've seen the angle where it goes behind the pole. Watching it live, I thought it was definitely foul. The weird thing to me is that they called it fair and then called it foul before they went to the replay. So now you have to have evidence to overturn that it was foul instead of evidence to overturn that it was fair. That seems like a bad system, right? Like, no, the guy who's in charge of that call called it a home run. Now we go to replay to decide whether or not it was a home run or not. Not, well, now let's get together and let's talk and let's change. Like, no, that's literally what you have replay for. Like, so you should just go right to replay. I don't know. I think if it was called a home run, it might have stood. It's tough. The fact that Major League Baseball doesn't have a better camera angle figured out for those exact balls right there is, well, I would say it's insane, but honestly, it's par for the course. I mean, Major League Baseball is still like decades behind when it comes to technology. So, but yeah, it certainly seems to me, at least, like I was more certain that the Texas home run, not home run, was a fair ball than I was that this one in Anaheim was.
Yeah.
But I think if pushed, I would say I think they were both home runs. And it's dumb that Major League Baseball hasn't figured this out yet.
So it is interesting because they do have the Hawkeye system there in Angel Stadium, but they don't officially use it for at least for the baseball side of things. But it did show it go in front of the foul pole. This is the system that they use in tennis, by the way, for those that don't know. Hawkeye system is for tennis to see if the ball hits the line or not. So it showed that it went in front of the foul pole, but who knows if because they don't use it there, if that's actually accurate or not. It looked to me, though, on that replay that it wrapped around the pole. It looked like it wrapped around the pole, not in front of it.
Yeah, it just, like, that one, like, I wasn't 100% sure on. The one in Texas, I am convinced was a home run. This one, I was like, it's close. I depending on what angle you want to show me, I could be like, oh yeah, or no. So.
Yeah, it is what it is. But Julio's still able to walk out of this series with a home run as the offense starts to figure it out down in Anaheim and caps off a sweep with an offensive explosion, 19 combined runs over their last 13 innings of play down in Anaheim in this series. Good stuff in the Mariners offense. We're going to be talking about the pitching in just a moment, but first, a message from the NHTSA. You're hanging out with some friends and putting back a few drinks. A few becomes a few too many. As the evening comes to an end and people start to head out, you think of calling for a ride. But nah, you live nearby. You can make it home okay. It's no big deal. What are the odds you'll get pulled over anyway? And even so, what's the worst that could happen? Your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you lose your job, you total your car, you kill someone. Everyone knows about the risks of driving drunk. The results are tragic and often deadly. However, that still doesn't stop everyone from getting behind the wheel while under the influence. That's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers on our roads to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Play it safe and plan ahead to get a ride. It only takes one mistake to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober or get pulled over. So let's talk Mariners pitching. Wasn't great today, particularly giving up the 7 runs to the Angels offense. George Kirby didn't have his best stuff, but got through 5 2/3. Had some nice flashes here and there for sure. Let's start with him. What did you see out of Kirby today?
Yeah, just not a lot of feel for any of the off-speed stuff. Couple nice sliders, couple nice curveballs, but really just not much there. He basically had to rely on the two-seamer, and it was a really good pitch for him today. So he was able to work through it against a bad lineup, which does help. But yeah, it was mostly the two-seamer today. Not a lot of just not a lot of value out of the curveball. So it's one of those starts where you don't read too much into it, but he also ran some deep counts. It was an okay start for George Kirby. It wasn't the sharpest we've seen him. But again, able to get through 5 2/3, give up 3 runs. It's fine. He avoided disaster against a bad team when his offense gave him a legitimate chance to pitch like that. So we've seen guys like Logan Gilbert. The Mariners get 6 runs off of the Yankees, and Gilbert gives them right back. So it's one of those things where it's a skill when you don't have your best stuff to kind of work around it. And the Mariners really did that all series. Ironically, each starting pitcher kind of did it with one pitch. They only had one pitch really working. For Kirby's today, it was the two-seamer. A lot of really cool, things he can do with that, particularly against the lefties. So that pitch really carried him today. Thought it was kind of weird that Scott pushed him back out there for the 6th. It was a very hot day, and he had a really rough 5th inning. So a little bit surprising there, but hey, I guess see what the kid's got. But he was okay.
Yeah, he was okay. Pretty decent at the start, and then the command started to tail off a little bit. And like you said, he just didn't really seem to have his feel for anything outside of the two-seamer for the most part. Let's move on to Robbie Ray. Pitched last night. He battled 10 strikeouts though, which is pretty nice to see out of Ray. The strikeouts are starting to go up a bit here for Ray in the later going now, and only walks 2, gives up the 2 earned runs, 6 hits. In 6 innings pitch. What did you see out of Ray last night?
Yeah, last night was about Ray's slider. It was the one pitch he could kind of reliably go back to. He was okay. I think kind of the big pitch is obviously the double play he gets in the 3rd inning with the bases loaded. It's already 2-0. I think it was Taylor Ward at the plate, somebody who could do some legitimate damage and kind of knock you out of this game. And he gets the double play. We've seen Ray kind of the last few starts kind of go back to the fastball slider. He's still using the two-seamer, but he's trying to avoid contact now. Whereas for about a month there, it was a lot of ground balls. So it's nice to know that he's got both of those abilities in his back pocket now. He's dominated the Angels all year, and even when he didn't have his best command, best control, or best velocity for that matter, the slider was good enough that he was able to generate enough strikeouts to really kind of after the 3rd inning to really just squash any kind of momentum that the Angels were trying to build. So that double play was huge, and after that he was just fine. It's part of the reason why you give him $115 million because not his best stuff, kept his team in it, was more than good enough to win. Flash dominance at time again with just one pitch. So it's part of the reason why he's at the top of your rotation. That's the kind of outing you want to see from a guy who, doesn't have it.
So then Luis Castillo on Monday for the third start in a Mariners uniform goes toe-to-toe with another team's ace and goes 6 innings pitched. As I said earlier, the 2 earned runs that he gave up were not really on him.
Yeah.
At least one of them.
Right.
But 9 strikeouts, 1 walk, 6 hits, the 1 home run, which shouldn't have been a home run. What did you see out of Castillo in his third start in a Mariners uniform, going up against someone not the Yankees?
Yeah, still going up against, a Cy Young contender. So Castillo's done that now 3 times in the Mariners uniform. The Mariners are 3-0, which is why you go make the trade. Luis Castillo was pretty good. Again, not great. It's very similar to the other 2 guys. Didn't have everything working. Didn't have pinpoint control or command. Found a way to make it work against a bad lineup. Castillo probably had the best outing of the 3, just because the 1 home run was really fluky. But it wasn't the slider this time. He really didn't have the slider. It was the changeup we saw. Look, he used it more than he had in his previous starts, and really it was the fastball that really dominated. It was 97, 98 with some run. Ran a lot of deep counts. Didn't give up much hard contact though. He just was just a tiny bit off. It wasn't. Again, I know people will hear this as criticism, but he was just not quite 100% Luis Castillo, and that should excite people, because if Luis Castillo can do that against major leaguers who, half major leaguers, at like 70%, imagine what he could do at 100%. Well, the Yankees start. And again, I don't think we've even seen Castillo with both his changeup and slider on the same outing. So I think there's another gear to Luis Castillo. I think he looked pretty good. Just not quite 100% like there. He was just a little bit off, and you could see it in some, ran some deeper counts than he normally does. Had to battle with a few guys to get outs, but it was still good stuff. And you only walk 1. I mean, it sounds silly to talk about control when you only walk 1 guy, but Castillo didn't have his best, he didn't have his best control on Monday, but again,
still looking forward to when he finally finds the changeup again and uses it to the best of its ability, because that's a legitimate 75-80 grade offering from Castillo.
Felix Hernandez prime changeup. It's that good.
Yeah. So once he finds that, look out. Right now he doesn't. I mean, it's kind of been like a 55 for the most part since he's come over, and a
little better in Anaheim, but yeah,
a little better in Anaheim. Yeah, a little better in Anaheim, but for the most part, just hasn't had his best stuff yet, and that's really exciting because he's been out of his mind in a Mariners uniform thus far. He's been great. So that's, again,
it's worth noting, Garrett Cole twice and Shohei Ohtani in his first 3 starts, and the Mariners are 3-0. And you could argue he's outpitched. Well, he definitely outpitched Cole the first time, but you can argue that he's outpitched both of those guys each time as well. So, like I said, I don't think we've seen peak Luis Castillo yet. Not in the Mariners uniform, but also not for his entire career. I think there's another gear to Luis Castillo, and if I had to bet on an organization to get it out of him, probably the Seattle Mariners. So,
for sure,
it's a dangerous rotation if you can get it to October.
All right, so on tomorrow's show, we are planning to have Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times join us. Looking forward to talking to him about the Mariners. Going to be talking some Luis Castillo, maybe ask him about a possible extension. Also just talk about this team in general, where it's at, the vibes, and all that good stuff. So look forward to that.
We're also guy?
We're gonna find out. I'm certainly going to poke the bear on that front and see what happens. I mean, whether or not he means to do it, he does bring the vibes. Divish does bring the vibes. So
yes, go Bobcats.
Yes. So we're gonna be doing that, and then we're gonna be continuing what is now Prospect Weeks, not Prospect Week, but Prospect Weeks.
Month.
Prospect month, what have you, with I believe we're doing prospects 10 through 6 from old Colby Patnode here, so we'll be doing that on tomorrow's show as well, so be sure to check that out. So that's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners post-game show. For Colby Patnode, I'm Ty Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow Inside the Mariners at Inside Mariners. You can follow me at Dane Gonzalez, that's DANEGNZLZ, and Colby at CPAT11, that's CPAT11. You can also find all that stuff in the description of this episode, whether you're watching or listening to it. And thank you again for making us your first listen after the sweep. Now make your second listen the Locked On MLB podcast. MLB expert Paul Francis Sullivan brings humor, passion, and unique perspective on every team and the biggest stories around the league. Follow the #1 daily league-wide podcast, Locked On MLB, on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts, just like us. And with that, have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.